A former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, today led members of the Presidential Advisory Council on International Relations to bid the President farewell. The former Commonwealth Secretary General and his members joined the President for breakfast at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. Chief Anyaoku, who is the Chairman of the Presidential Advisory Council on International Relations, describes the meeting as a valedictory one, saying that was the last time his committee members will be meeting with Dr. Jonathan as the President of the country.
Excellent valedictory meeting with the President. This being the last meeting of our council and the last time we are meeting with the outgoing President. We told him that our nation, Nigeria, owes him a huge debt of gratitude for what he has done in terms of the elections, the success of the elections, and above all, in terms of his gesture in picking up his telephone and congratulating the President-elect even before the results of the final results of the elections were announced. That singular act has earned our country a great deal of admiration and respect abroad, and we thanked him and congratulated him on that, and we also wished him well for his future endeavors.
Well, the President has redeployed the Minister of State for Agriculture and Rural Development, Mrs. Asabe Ahmed, to the Petroleum Equalization Fund as its Executive Secretary. Mrs. Ahmed takes over from Mrs. Sharon Adefunke Kesali, who's been Executive Secretary of the PEF since 2007. A statement by the Special Advisor on Media and Publicity, Dr. Ruben Abati, explains that Mrs. Ahmed, who hails from Niger State, is expected to reposition PEF for present and future challenges. According to the statement, President Jonathan has also approved the appointment of Mr. Denzel Kentebe as Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Management Development Board. Mr. Kentebe takes over from Mr. Ernest Nwapa, who has been Executive Secretary of the board since April 2010. Well, from now on, any airline that offer customers poor and shoddy services would be sanctioned. The Minister of Aviation, Mr. Osita Chidoka, gave this warning in an interview with journalists after a meeting with the Senate Committee on Aviation. He was responding to questions on the recent problems at the airports in the last few days, where many customers were stranded after their flights were cancelled without warning. Since December 1993, the United Nations General Assembly proclaimed May the 3rd World Press Freedom Day. The theme this year is Let Journalism Thrive, towards better reporting, gender equality and media safety in the digital age. While activities are held worldwide to mark the day, the United States Embassy in Lagos today held an event focused on assessing Nigerian news media performance covering the 2015 elections. Well, to education matters now. Chairmen and members of the governing councils of federal universities who interfere in the everyday administration of universities and polytechnics may face the wrath of the government. This warning is coming from the Minister of Education, Ibrahim Shekarau, while inaugurating the governing councils of 12 federal universities and 4 polytechnics in Abuja. According to him, governing councils should be more concerned with policy issues and how to manage the funds allocated by the federal government. He, however, urged members of the governing councils not to be intimidated by members of most communities clamoring for the appointment of indigenes as principal officers, saying it is alien to university administration for merit to be sacrificed just to suit the aspiration of some host communities. While still within the sector, Nigerian education sector needs to be repositioned for global competitiveness. This view was expressed by the Bayelsa State Governor, Sariyake Dixon, when he met with Class 37 of the National Institute of Policy and Strategic Studies, Kuru, Plateau State. The group was in Yenagoa, the Bayelsa state capital, in its efforts at seeking ways for the repositioning of Nigeria's education system.
Whether you talk about the challenge of terrorism or militancy, or any of these situations that have made our country a laughing stock, have created a lot of dislocations within us. You can't be far from locating the cause, or at least one of the major causes in terms of the abandonment of education. We are of the view that governments have really, over the years, appear not to have paid sufficient attention to investing in education. Investing in educational infrastructure, investing in education which alone has the capacity to guarantee our future as a people.
Hello, welcome to Business News. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has resumed oil search in the Chad Basin following an improvement in the security situation in Nigeria's northeast. This is according to the Group Managing Director, NNPC, Dr. Joseph Dawa, at the 21st Annual General Meeting of Integrated Data Services Nigeria Limited, a subsidiary of the corporation. He explained that in spite of the challenge of funding due to the fall in crude oil prices, that IDSL's performance in previous exercises was encouraging as it recorded 32% growth in revenue, which prompted the decision to resume search activities at the North Basins. Local lenders are the major financiers of the Dangote Greenfield Refinery and Fertilizer Complex planned for Lagos. The project, which is expected to come on stream by 2017, accounts for 9% of the bank's foreign currency loan book, which stands at about $1.45 billion. The Dangote complex, valued at $9 billion, will be able to process 650,000 barrels of oil per day when completed and is being financed by $5.5 billion in debt and $3.5 billion of equity. Repayment of the foreign currency loan sourced at a 7-year maturity is set to begin after 3 years, that's by 2016. And federal government's bonds have been reported to account for 60.63% of the nation's domestic debt. The Debt Management Office reveals that FGN bonds contributed 4.79 trillion naira out of the country's total domestic debt of 7.90 trillion naira as of December the 31st last year. The data also shows that Treasury bills account for 2.81 trillion naira. That's about 35.62% of the federal government's total domestic debt profile. Other Treasury bonds account for 296.22 billion naira of the domestic debt. FGN bonds with a tenor of 5 years attracted a subscription of 45.93 billion naira. The 10-year tenor bonds attracted subscription of 69.48 billion naira, while the 20-year tenor bonds attracted 70.21 billion naira subscription. While trading on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange continued on a downward movement today, the key index slipped 0.14% to close at 34,600.42. Now here is Temple Ashaju with the rest of the day's trading figures.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. Equities transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange ended in the negative territory as the key benchmark index slipped 0.14% to close at 34,600.42 points. The persistent decline could be attributed to the negative sentiment towards stocks as companies continue to post disappointing earnings for the first quarter of the year. On the gainers table, Total topped with 7 naira 7 kobo. It comes ahead of Cornwell with a 1 naira 81 kobo gains and ETI with 1 naira 6 kobo. The decliners log had food stock Nestle, which dropped 14 naira 25 kobo. It was followed by Nigerian breweries and Guinness with 1 naira appreciations each. On the volume chart, banking stocks made the lead as UBA pulled 40.5 million shares, while Access Bank and Zenith Bank recorded 29.3 million units and 18 million shares each. In all, investors staked 4.2 billion naira for 247.4 million units of shares in 4,848 deals. And that ends the stock market report. On Temple Ashaju.
Thanks a lot, Temple. Oil prices slipped towards $66 a barrel, and it fell from a 2015 high as Saudi Arabia plans to enhance oil supply from the Middle East, despite the violence in Yemen. Brent crude oil futures shifted 5 cents from $67.10 recorded on Monday to $66.41 a barrel this morning. U.S. crude oil futures slumped by 6 cents to $58.87 a barrel. Gold price sustained overnight gains today, but was still trading below $1,200 an ounce after the metal gained 0.8% on Monday, ending a 3-day losing streak caused by low trading during the Labor Day holiday. And spot gold was slightly changed at $1,187 an ounce. Gains in the precious metal came despite strengthened dollar, which inched higher against major currencies on a weaker euro and a strong data on U.S. factory orders. That's it on business news. We'll take a look at the global market figures for today. Sulaiman will be back with the rest of the news at 10.
When the News at 10 returns, Nigeria's Warri Wolves to face AC Leopards of Congo in the final qualifying round of the 2015 CAF Confederation Cup. There's some sports news. Stay with us.